So that's what you want. A building collapse in Arma tree, with no huge ass scripts, no extra mods, no third-party programs outside of maybe the little stuff. Well, let me show you how. Now, I'm not going to go into the origin or the history of the keyframe animation technique, but I can show you how it's done in Arma tree. Go into the editor, look around in systems, you'll see it has a category right there. Click into that, and the first thing you'll need to place down is a timeline. Don't worry about the rest for now. This module defines the basics of the animation, like how long it is or whether you want to loop. I recommend having it play from start and looping, or else for some stupid reason it doesn't work and the solutions are a bit of a pain. Set the length to however long you need, better long than short. This is in seconds. Next you want to place a ridge curve module. Click into that and set the orientation mode to animation, and sync it to the timeline. Now here's the fun part. Place down 2 ridge curve keys, click into them like the others, and then give them different time values. Keep one at 0, the other at whatever. Sync them to the ridge curve, and aha! You have a line. And if you sync something, like a vehicle, to the ridge curve, now we're in business. To change the direction of the object, you can change the direction of the ridge curve key. And best of all, you can daisy chain these and change the timing between them. Mess around with that, and ta-da! Animation. I highly recommend adding a slight delay to the start. I just use 2 keys in the same position with different timings, and you can run the mission to see the animation be played. Using the same method, the apartment animation was created. But that doesn't work in multiplayer. You play it in multiplayer, and you get a stuttery, jittery mess. This is because keyframe animation only works server-side, and for each of the players that doesn't transfer over. The end result? Sadness. And if you Google a solution for it, more sadness. But there is a solution. Since the problem is that the animation doesn't run for all the players, and you can't get it to inherently do that because Arma, then perhaps you could record the animation as data, save it, then replay it back on each player's end. This sounds horrifically complicated, but there is a workaround. Indeed, something like this already exists within Arma tree. It's called unit capture. This is the method a lot of mission makers use to create cool cinematic scenes and such, where instead of relying on the AI doing the thing they want perfectly, they can simply record themselves doing it, and then have the AI play it back. Best of all, we can use the same method here. Indeed, I'm not even the first to suggest using this. Of course, there are some limitations, namely file size and frame rate, but it should be fine for our purposes. First, some setup. Give the object you're animating a variable name. I'll call it building. While you're at it, place down something like a VR block, and then set its position and rotation to the position and rotation of the last ridge curve key in the animation. Effectively, the final position where the animation will end. I'll tell you why later. Also give the object a variable name. In this case, I'm going to call it final position. Afterwards, go into the mission folder and create an SQF file. You can do this by simply creating a text file and saving it as an SQF like so. Then type this inside. Change this value to the variable name we gave our object, in this case building, as well as the variable name for the final position. in this case, final position. And our setup is now complete. Next, go back into the game and run the mission. Before the animation begins, run this command in the console you get in the pause menu and hit enter. If you get this little prompt, that means it's working, good job. Then simply let the animation run its course and hit exit. Then press the continue button. Don't hit exit twice or it gets finicky. If the data is correctly recorded, then hit F1 and it will be copied to your clipboard. Exit the mission and go all the way back to this file. Paste that data into this spot here, and your animation is now recorded into data and can be rerun. In the editor, remove the sync between the object and the animation. You can delete it, but I prefer to hide it instead just in case I need it later. And last but not least, run the mission, and in the same console run this command to run the SQF file. This bit has to be the name of the SQF. And there we have it. In my case, to make it easier, I also attach it to a trigger, like so. There is one final caveat, that ironically this should only be run on the player's side, not the server. Because if you run it on the server, both the player's side and the server side conflict, and you get stuttery movement because of desync. This tiny bit of code at the top prevents the script from being run on the server, so the animation is crystal smooth. This is also why we need to record the final position of the animation. Since the animation is not actually run on the server, we need to update the final position on the server itself, or else once the animation ends on the player side, it's just going to pop back to where it started. The rest of that is simply just making it look and sound good. Stuff like camera shake, debris, and of course, we could forget sound effects. And that's how you make a 12-story building collapse in Arma 3. Compatible in multiplayer, no less. But of course, that's just a building. But think about what you could do, perhaps.